Hi everybody, welcome to week 3 in Law of Banking and Financial Institutions. This is Professor Dunaway. I hope you all had a good weekend. I am posting this later than usual on Sunday evening, so many of you might already be asleep depending on where you are. And so I hope that, again, you all had a good weekend, and those of you that are still squeezing the last few hours out of your weekend, hopefully they're enjoyable. So last week for week 2, you learned about financial institution charters and their regulators. So I'm going to go into the learning outcomes. So after doing the reading and watching the videos, you should now have a background, or you should now understand the background and scope of authority of the several agencies that are listed here. So last week there were a few readings to take a look at. There were some banking law section special pamphlets, and then we also wanted you to look at various websites to learn about the agencies and such. So hopefully you had some time to do that, and you think you have a good handle on the agencies and who the regulators are. So this week we'll be discussing organization of banks, bank powers, and branch banking. So again, if we look at the learning outcomes for this week, you will understand the basic steps of the formation of a bank and the regulatory expectations for new banks. You will learn the scope and limitations of bank powers, and then you'll finally know each bank charter's branching powers and the extent by which a bank is able to establish a branch in its home and host states, including the impact of the Dodd-Frank Act on branch banking. So again, as you're going through the reading and the videos, keep those in mind. So you'll see for this week, there's several banking law sections that we want you to take a look at. And then after you get through those, down here, the lectures and slides, there are 3 videos and then the corresponding PowerPoint presentations or slides for each one. My screen keeps jumping. I'm so sorry about that. That's annoying for me, and it must be annoying for you, so I apologize. So 3 videos and for this week. And then next week, week 4, we'll be learning about duties of bank directors, officers, insider transactions, and conflicts of interest. So that's it. I haven't gotten a lot of questions, so I feel like everybody's doing great. I was very pleased with your discussion forum posts. I think the biggest way or reason people lost points were missing the deadlines. So if you're even, a few hours late, I need to ding you. So try to, meet those deadlines to avoid losing points. And then just make sure that everyone's doing a great job on the initial post. Some of the replies and comments back aren't very substantive. So you want to make sure that you're using your replies are robust, that you're, not only, and I know I sometimes say ask a question, further the conversation, but you also need to be using the course materials. So it's kind of got to be both. Like you want to ask a question, but you also want to do a little discussion, So if your response is only a sentence or two, you're likely going to lose a couple points. Or a few points. So you at least need to have a robust response and reply to each of the students that you reply to. I think last week, for the most part, you all did that. There was a couple that needed some work, and I pretty much put a note on yours, so you'll know who I'm talking. You'll know if it's you that needs to just add a little more, just beef up those responses a bit. But overall, great job. Okay, so your assignment is due next Sunday, so a week from tonight, the 26th, by 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. And again, must be timely or you will lose points. I know sometimes students get upset if they're, a few hours late, but you got to think of the fairness to other students who didn't have those few hours to work on their assignment because they got them in on time. So, it's just trying to do a level playing field for everybody. So there is that hard cutoff. If the assignments do come in after that, you will lose points. Um, and the way the class is structured, it's pretty much 10%. So if it's late, it's 10% unless there's an extension, which leads me to the extension policy. So if you are going to need an extension, you need to contact me prior to Sunday. So you must contact me at the latest on Saturday. Send me an email. I hope you're all listening to this, because please email me directly to my TJSL email address. So it's Dunawal, DUNAWAL at tjsl.edu. Please email me directly. It's so much easier for me to just respond to you quickly, so you know that I got it and that the extension's been granted. But you must email me prior to Sunday. If you do email me after Sunday, and I still stress that you do, so if it's Sunday and you're like, I'm just not going to get this done, still contact me, because then we can at least freeze your penalty for a week. So if you're going to need a few extra days, it gives you a little time. So you'll still get a penalty, but we can freeze it at that 10% then for a week before it increases. So if you think you're going to be late and you already missed that cutoff, it's a good idea to let me know. Anyway, I mean, unless you know for sure, like it's Sunday, I'm going to get it in on Monday or Tuesday, then that's fine. But I mean, again, you'll still get the penalty, but you don't need to email me. It's if, you think you might be coming up against, maybe other work deadlines or something's coming up. So anyway, just obviously use your best judgment. But to get the extension for no penalty for a week, you must email me prior to Sunday. If you have any questions, please contact me. Otherwise, so this week, do your discussion forum posts again, your initial post by Wednesday night, your comments and follow-ups by next Sunday, do the reading, watch the videos. Optional office hours this week. I don't know why I keep forgetting the time. Let me click in there. I believe it's Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. Oh, Thursday. I'm glad I looked. Thursday evening, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time with Professor DeLune. So if you have any questions or just want to stop in, he will be there. And then again, first assignment next Sunday, the 26th. And just a quick note on the assignment also. So it's important that if the question says discuss XYZ or describe XYZ, you need to discuss, you need to describe. There's been so many times students just, if it says discuss, I can't even think of something, but, discuss XYZ, there'll be, a few words. XYZ means blah, blah, blah. You need to have a discussion. So I can't stress that enough. We don't need pages and pages and pages, but we do want discussion when we ask you to discuss or describe. And even if it says, list the pros and cons, or, what are the pros and cons of XYZ, you want to discuss them. I can't stress this enough, and how I'm shocked every term that there are students who will just make a list and throw down 5 words and think they'll get full points. While you'll get some points, you will not get full points. So please, just if we ask for a discussion, please discuss. Again, a paragraph or 2, depending on what we're asking about, will likely be sufficient, but use your best judgment. If we're asking, what the pros and cons are, let's say we say, what are the 5 pros of this? You can name them, but then maybe a sentence or 2 as to why. At this level of course, you want to give just a little more effort. So just a reminder to do that, because I hate students losing points, and a lot of points, just because they didn't take that next step. So, and I guess I think that if you use the words discuss or describe, that it's self-explanatory that we kind of want some sort of discussion. So I just want to point it out to you. So please be sure you do that. And again, if you have any questions about that, feel free to email me and we can go through it. Um, but I know in this course, I think there's several questions because this, I think for the most part, if I remember all these, um, the assignments for this course, there's no like essays, like write a 4-page paper. It's more answering questions. So that's why I think it's more important that I point out to, please, use the course materials in your answers when it's necessary to give your answer. You want to use citations when it's applicable. So all those come into play, even though these are kind of short answer kind of questions. All right. I just blabbed on and on about that. I apologize. But again, if you have any questions, email me. Otherwise, I will be talking to you next week. I hope you all have a great week 3. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.